Hi guys, it's Roman Kozak here. Today I'll be doing an introduction to the FRITZING PCB program. Now what FRITZING is it's a super easy way to create your own custom printed circuit boards where you can etch them at home or send them off to a manufacturing company to manufacture them. Now actually I created a very pretty complex circuit in here a couple weeks ago for my science fair project that I took to Canada-wide Science Fair, and then I sent that off to a manufacturing company to get it manufactured. So I'll show you guys how to navigate your way around FRITZING, and then in another tutorial I'll show you how to create a project, put that into a Gerber file, and then send that off to a company to get manufactured. So let's start with the parts bin. Here you can access a whole bunch of parts, everything from Atmel 328s for Arduino to parallax components. You have your switches, you have LCDs, you have motors, everything you can possibly think of. And let's just say your part isn't here, you can enter in custom parts with custom holes and spacing. So really there is no limit. Well, actually there is. In FRITZING you can only do up to 2-layer circuits. So if you want to do anything more than 2 layers, you'll have to use a program, for example, Eagle. Now let's start by dragging and dropping a resistor on the breadboard. And here you can edit all the properties of the resistor. For example, change its resistance. For example, 15 ohms or 220 ohms. The package size if you want it to be a surface mount resistor or if you want just a standard through hole. You can also change the pin spacing here. So as you can see, we dragged a resistor here, we changed its properties. Now if you head on over to the schematic view, you can see that a resistor also showed up here. To edit the title of the resistor, just double click on that label there, and you can enter, for example, resistor 1, 220 ohms. And the label will change. Also, in your PCB view, a resistor will be added. And the label will also be the same where you can move that around. And once again, for example, if you don't want through hole, you can change that to a surface mount, and the resistor on there will correspond with the size you want. Okay, now let's go back to breadboard and create our first custom circuit. This one will be fairly easy, guys, since I'm just showing you the concept of FRITZING. Go on over and get a power supply. Let's get a voltage regulator and stick that in the breadboard. Let's head on over and pick up an LED, put that in the breadboard. Also, let's get a resistor. And no, just for fun, let's get a switch, because switches are good. So a slide switch. Now what we want to do is just hook up all this stuff together. So let's say this is my masterpiece of a circuit that I just set up, and I want to take it from breadboard to design. So what I'm going to do is I'd lay it out exactly the way I have it on my breadboard in real life, and then I'd align up all the wires. So let's start by hooking up the switch to the voltage regulator. Actually, you know what? Yep, let's do that. To the voltage regulator. And now you can change the colors of lines by right-clicking on the wire and then going wire color and red. So we want to keep that red. And then the output we're going to put to the breadboard side rail. Now this, of course, connects to ground, so we'll get this guy, touch it to ground, and go like that. And then we'll also connect this guy here, taking it from the same rail you can see, and then connecting that to the ground rail here. Change that to black. So we have our power set up. Now we can go ahead and attach our LED. So to add the resistor there, drag that to positive. Actually, sorry, that's the ground. And then drag that to positive. So there, guys, we have our first circuit set up in Fritzing. And it's just as simple as that. So just by dragging wires from one part to another, you can connect them and create an electrical connection. So let's head over to the schematic view. And in the schematic view, you can see that there is in fact here we have our voltage regulator, our lead emitting diode, our power supply, and our resistor. And to make this a bit more readable, you can go routing and auto route, and it will just make the connections a lot neater. If you're someone that likes to be organized, you can go ahead and add information plate here. And add in your info below. So your project, your file name, and all that stuff. Now, if you want to print this off, you can just go to File and Print, and it'll print it off in your normal schematic view. Now, heading on over to the PCB view, you can easily resize the PCB by clicking and dragging it like that, and then moving all the parts onto the circuit board. Sorry, on the PCB. And then once again, you can go like this, and then rotating auto route, and it will make everything really neat. And as you can see, it's created two layers. So the yellow layer would be the layer that's on top, and then the orange layer would be the layer that is on the second layer of the PCB. So that's pretty much it, guys. We have our breadboard, our schematic, and our PCB view with our inspector where we change the properties. And to finish that, you can just save it and change that to intro. Okay. And just save that up. And then that's it for this episode, but in my next episode, I'll be covering how to make a bit more complex project and then exporting that as a Gerber file and then sending that off to a manufacturing company where you can get your own PCB made. So look for that tutorial in a couple days. And yeah, thanks for watching.